It's us. We're live on CFR 88.7. This is the GP Does PG podcast. And we're live on the air with Dan Johnson. Thanks for coming, man.
Hey, howdy doody, everybody.
All right, let's just dive right into it. The most interesting part of your life first. You're a musician, man.
Yeah, I am. And I play in a band called Flying Machine, and I make my own music under the super creative pseudonym Dan from Flying Machine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's true.
So wait, that's your name outside of Flying Machine? Dan from Flying Machine?
Yeah, I want people to know. I want people to connect the dots. I could probably have been more cryptic about it.
Yeah. Like when Britney went solo from Alabama Shakes, she calls herself Thunder Bitch. You could have went something like that.
Something like that,
Maybe a little more vulgar, something that we couldn't say on the radio.
But I didn't know who that was, so maybe it should have been Thunder B-word from Alabama Shakes.
Maybe it should have just been Britney from Alabama Shakes.
Yeah. She shouldn't be listening to any advice from me. She has obviously been doing things much better than I have.
I get to. I love when she just pops up, like the end of the Stephen Colbert or the beginning, the very first show. I think she was there.
Yeah.
Just a part of the musical ensemble. But I don't know, for some reason it was just so much more exciting to see Britney from Alabama Shakes, even without her band.
I know.
I love that band.
Next week on the GP Does show, Britney from Alabama Shakes. Everybody tune in.
Now that would be something, man. That would be killer. Now I'm going to try. Get her on Skype or something.
Maybe.
She probably wouldn't.
You never know.
You never know unless you ask. That's true.
Yeah, like when I was in radio school, I had to do a series of interviews and stuff, and I sent emails to a bunch of people that I never thought I would get interviews with, like guys that wrote books on like vertical farming who lived in New Jersey, and guys who do their own podcast in LA and stuff, and everybody was super cool, and I ended up getting like 2 or 3 really solid interviews with people that were outside of my circle.
Your circle. That's awesome.
Yeah,
exactly. People are so excited to promote themselves. Like, why not?
Exactly.
It's a platform, as long as it's getting out there in some way. I was surprised that you came up for my inaugural show here at CFR.
Hey, I love local radio. I love audio things. I love people just doing things for the love of doing it,
And that's where I fall in very
Yes.
specifically, because I do and create a lot of content, and it's just for the love of it at this point.
Yeah, even if, it can definitely grow into that, but it'll never grow into that if it doesn't start from a place of like, I just want to do this. And, lots of people look for lots of barriers, and it's just nice that like GP Does PG, you're just out there doing it. And, that, how have you found doing it over the last couple months?
It has been fantastic. It's been great to be a part of the community, be contributing in some part, and just posting the videos to the Hell Yeah Prince George page has gotten quite a bit of traction, I thought. A lot of my videos have been getting about 2,000 views in minimum.
Yeah.
And then in the high end was Pop Media, which is your company, had 7,000 views, and I was like, whoa.
It's crazy, right? And has anybody stopped you that you don't know, like outside PG, going, "Oh, it's GP," or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yesterday, I was picking up my sister from the mall, and I swear somebody recognized me. They pointed at me from. They're just walking by, and they're pointing at me. I'm looking around, what? And then
you hope they recognize you and weren't trying to plot some sort of that's the guy.
Yeah,
we're taking him out, man.
Yeah, so I gave him a wave, and I've been recognized before doing GP Does PG with the. I think it was the Garrett and Carl show. I made a video, and somebody from the CBC recognized me, and it was the most awkward experience of my life. He's
Hey.
"Why are you staring me down?" I was like, "Oh wait, I'm famous."
Nice.
Good to be king.
Hey, I hear you, buddy. I'm fighting my way up.
So, in your band Flying Machine, you had a keyboardist at one point, but then that went a separate way. So now you have a fiddle player. I've seen pictures, never heard you guys.
Yeah. Our pal Warren joined the band, and he totally transformed our sound. And, people really like to dance to fiddle. And now that he's there, we find that we're able to get people dancing more. It's less of, a rock show and more of a fun party time. So
do you find that your music is more folky with the fiddle, or is it still more rock and roll?
It's a nice mix of both, I think. I think that it's harder than folk, lighter than rock type thing. So it's a good place to be.
Right on.
Yeah, what do they say? Like describing your music is like dancing to describe a film or something like that. Talking about music is like dancing to describe film, something like that.
Yeah. With my band, we actually have a fiddle player joining, but we're all like amateur hour right now. That should actually be the name of our band.
I mean, not bad. Amateur fiddle player. That I didn't.
He's learning. He's actually taking lessons and stuff. So, and it's more just like a chill out with friends. Our band.
Yeah.
It's not, and that's.
Hey, I think that's what every band is, and it only gets to be more and more pressure and less fun as you climb the
I hope
dominance hierarchy of music.
I hope we never learn one song and just keep jamming out and playing. Just like, we'll be the greatest band that never plays.
That's a great shtick,
Yeah, that's the same with my band Pink Riot, my other band. We're kind of like in between players right now. I'm not entirely sure who's all in the band. There might be just 2 of us at the moment, but maybe we'll...
There could be 2. There could be 18. That's the magic.
Yeah, exactly. So the greatest band you will never see. Or maybe one day you will see.
Right.
You never know. You can never say never.
You can never say never.
That's one thing I remember from Kevin Smith. All his definitiveness. Every time he's like, "Oh, I'm making this movie for sure," or "I'll never make another Kevin Smith movie again."
Yes.
And then just like 2 years later, he comes out with Clerks 2 is like the most Kevin Smith movie you could come up with.
Basically. I was actually going to bring my guitar and play my Kevin Smith Heart Attack song.
Oh, really?
So it's funny that you bring him up. He's somebody that really influenced me when I was younger. But as he creates like more movies, it's like, okay, I'm having a hard time following you on this, path. That doesn't mean that I don't like what he's doing, as in just like, it seems like smoking weed and creating stuff. And he's at like a part of his life where he can just kind of make whatever he wants,
Yeah.
I wish that I liked what he was making a little bit more, but like I think that that's separate from what we were just talking about earlier, just doing things to do them, and that's fun and exciting.
And that's what he is exemplifying now, especially with his last couple movies with Tusk and that like teenage movie. I can't even remember what it's called.
Yoga Hosers.
Yoga Hosers with his kid.
Did you listen to the podcast that started Tusk? Because that's what was so interesting, is because
I listened to it after the fact. I saw the movie first.
Yeah.
And that movie is terrifying. It's actually really scary up until you see, what's his name? The most famous
Justin
guy.
Long?
No, not Justin Long.
No.
The detective, Guy Lapointe.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp's character.
Yeah.
He is hilarious. He's kind of like this comedy character in this middle of this terrifying horror movie, like...
genre bending. It's
I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast or something. They brought up talking about Red State. I was listening to old episodes.
Yeah.
And it made me want to watch Red State again.
That was a great movie.
Yeah. I like Michael Parks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fantastic actor. I guess I just loved him as much as Kevin Smith did, but he had the opportunity to create this project for him. It was amazing to hear.
Have you been interested in making like narrative movies like that, or do you find that like the sort of documentary GP does PG style is more what you're into?
I say the narrative film style is what interests me first. This documentary film style is really just keeping me busy. Mm-hmm. It was never really a passion of mine doing anything. It's kind of like working in television in CKPG, trying to build a repertoire of what I could do, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that was just, how have you found, has it gotten easier to keep making these things? Is it harder each one that you do? And if you're still interested in narrative, like, do you have ideas for that in the future?
And I'd say it has gotten easier and harder. There was the Foodie Friday shoot that I did. That was a very complicated shoot to edit together.
Yeah.
I have a camera person helping me out with a lot of these things. So they're some of the first times that I've really collaborated in this scale with 3 people. I have a sound guy and a film guy. And then, but the last shoot with JP with Studio 720, we just the way we had like a format to follow at that point, and it was very easy to put together. And I felt natural doing the interview. Something with that holding that microphone made it so much easier. For
Man on the street style. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I have this idea that I want to do for another video where I just like get a bench and then I just sit out and I just like let people sit down and do some sort of therapy session or something, anything.
Yes, I mean that's, you know, that you could even mix that with the narrative thing that I was just talking about. You could have some real ones, some fake ones, mix it all together, kind of make a funny piece.
Yeah, that's right. And to answer your, if I had any ideas for like narratives, I did attempt making some in the past with that band Pink Riot. It was kind of started off as a fictional band.
Sure.
We made this fake. We made a Christmas special on Seafer, like a whole hour long.
That's
and
awesome.
I did it like sitting by the fireplace and I opened up with singing Santa Baby, like karaoke style. And we had a sketch. We had a whole 15-minute sketch where we met my 4 mothers. It was fantastic. And one of the sketches was Pink Riot, and that was the first. I wasn't involved with the band. We didn't have any music or anything, and I got my friends to play each of the characters. And like the lead guitarist is named Boob Job Majopski. I don't even know. The drummer only played with one. He like was a fan of Def Leppard, and he liked the one arm playing guy, so
Sure.
he played with one arm behind his back just in honor of him. But no one else in the band liked it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So we definitely had ideas. I've written out a script, like 11-page script to do to a Pink Riot script, and actually we did a lot of the album at that point, so we had the music ready. So I wrote that into the script, and we just never did it. It's just too hard, I guess.
That's what I'm finding with the narrative thing is that, you know, it's much easier to capture what is really happening than trying to like recreate realities and, you know, narratives and stuff like
you
that.
need
So,
you need quite a vision
yeah.
is to begin with, but then you also need a network of friends and like actors.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to get people to be inspired the same way that you are for the projects.
Yes, and most of the time you just come off looking like a raving lunatic who's like, "You guys, I have this great idea."
I think that's a good thing too. I think,
Yes, yeah, it's true. You know, especially like how would David Lynch like convince his friends? Or you know, he's like, "I got this great movie idea," and then he explains the plot, and they're like, okay, I guess we'll give it a try."
Does he have money at that point though to pay these people?
That also helps.
I bet
also helps.
That's a big factor of it too.
So are we gonna like play some tunes, or we're just like going?
I think we're just gonna chat for the hour.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feeling burnt out already? 12
No,
minutes in?
no. I mean, yeah, but no. Buckle in, everybody. This
is it. This is it.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you were doing? Like, I guess you know. I don't know. Just I want to talk about how you kind of created this portfolio for CKPG. They're not like responding to it, and what you like think you can do with it, like going from here and kind of like doing it on your own. Like, do you have any ideas about?
None whatsoever, really.
Yeah.
Like the idea would be to make money at it at one point or at some point, but maybe it wouldn't have to be working in the television station at that point. I don't know. They wanted me to kind of be more by the facts and kind of like produce like a news segment to hire me for to be part of the news team. So I strongly felt against that, and I decided to go the complete opposite way and go the more theatrical way that they didn't like.
Yeah, personality based, which is so interesting because it's like that content is the stuff that resonates with people. You know.
Exactly.
Like, you know. There are lots of lifestyle pieces in lots of different things. But, you know, I do know that, like, the news teams, you know, they're pretty cut as in, like, they don't have a lot of room for, like, we have Lifestyle with Garrett, and we have Dan on,
No.
music in town.
No,
and
they
we
have a
this,
pretty
like-
tight schedule and script to follow,
Yeah.
and day in and day out, daily you have to produce.
Yeah.
So
Which is tough, and then, like, I get it and stuff. But, yeah, I just wanted to kind of, ask about plans.
yeah, well, I know that you have jumped out of. You used to work at CKPG too, work making commercials, writing commercials, producing them, and it was Camille McDonald, your girlfriend, who started Pop Media and then went on her own, and she was working at the television station. It's quite a interesting story because she created Pop Media, and I guess it got big enough and was making enough money to hire you on as a content creator there.
Yes, yeah. So that's what I've been doing for the last 6 months, and it's been awesome. Like, a real, growth period for my filmmaking and things like that, because you've got to do it, because we have lots of bills and it's only up to us. But that is how I probably needed a little bit of fire under my ass like that to achieve that kind of next level, because like, having a job 9 to 5, like, it's great, awesome, it's very stable. You can kind of, like, push, the work extends because you always know that you have to go to work tomorrow and do the thing, and the paycheck's going to be there every 2 weeks. But
Right.
like this, it's like, get it done and move on to the next one, because you've got to store your nuts for winter, man. And
Yeah, so wait. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. So no, you just bought a house. You just got a mortgage, right? Or no, Camille did.
Yeah, Camille is really the I'm just the trophy.
She wears the pants.
Well, yeah,
You're
hell
the-
yeah. She did a great job, and
She's your sugar mama is what you're telling me.
trying to, yeah, exactly. And I'm trying to keep that spot because it's a great spot right now. But yeah, she kind of bought this house right before leaving CKPG.
Did she know that she was leaving CKPG when she bought the house?
She had a feeling, for sure. And, they probably wouldn't have given her the house
If she was independent
she-
like this,
yeah.
totally. Like, just having that steady job is so major for the banks.
Yeah. And so I think that it's just another, thing that we love about Prince George is that, we kind of have this payment that, while it is there and we have to, like, focus on, like, is still doable for us to, like, be freelancing like this and trying to build a business like this. Like, many of my peers who I went to radio school with in Vancouver, because of the housing situation there, they can't take as many risks to do things like we're doing. And, that's another thing, like, with our medical system, like, where we, leaving CKPG, I lose my benefits for, like, dentists and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm trying to do this thing, and so it's, like, so weird how you lose a paycheck and also your benefits. And so you have to pay for dentistry when you have a job you don't. It's very strange. But my point to that is, with the states not having universal medical, it's hard for people to, like, take chances and innovate and, like, leave their jobs to try to create something, because the fear of these huge bills is, like, it would be too much, because it's almost too much now, and we're in a great situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, my last guest on my podcast was Jim Ether. He's an artist from the States. He moved to Ohio about 8 years ago, and he found just, like, the cost of living in that state was a lot different than Massachusetts, so he gave it a shot being an artist full time, and he's been doing it for the last 8 years. I find it kind of inspiring, and I definitely find it inspiring what Camille has done, and as well yourself.
Yeah, we found it to be very meaningful, and it's nice, because when you kind of, I find that I will tell more adultier adults that, like, yeah, we quit our job to make movies. They kind of are like, oof, I wanted to, but it is nice that, like, we are doing it and we are making an honest living at it, and also that the two of us find so much meaning from being part of the community, getting better at our craft every day, having to get better at your craft every day, and no matter where this goes, we are going to be in such a better position for having attempted this.
Do you think just living, well, I guess you said as opposed to living in the States, living in Canada makes it easier, but maybe just Prince George specifically, would you have been able to do this anywhere else?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just there was a bit of a niche in the market here for the online. It's just such a new
a new thing
too.
But if we tried to do this in Vancouver, we're 10 years too late, right? But Prince George is this town that's small enough that you get to know lots of people, but big enough that there's enough kind of economy and things happening that there's always going to be people wanting some videos done. Yeah. Right
on. You're listening to the Garrett Perry podcast, GP Does PG, on CFUR 88.7 CFUR. It's kind of annoying we have to do that.
Hey, I went to radio school, man. I get it,
At least you don't have to play 2 minutes of commercials.
That's true.
This block programming that they have up at CFUR is actually a pretty good fit for the format of a podcast, I think, aside from having to do the plugs every 20 minutes or so, yeah.
And also, CFUR's really getting their spoken word content thresholds met with this hour of talking.
Yeah, exactly. There's a heck of a lot of spoken word content that I hear. I guess I don't really listen to the radio that early in the morning.
Well, that might be why.
Yeah,
because they do Democracy Now! And they do enough to meet their level so that they can continue to get their funding.
But this is going to help them too, and it helps a lot too that it's completely local, Prince George focused.
Yes, yeah. Listen to this hot local content. Yeah. How's your music been going?
It's been going pretty. Oh, it's been off and on for the last couple of years, I guess. Mm-hmm. The last big thing I did was that Pink Riot project. We just went to town and produced this 7-track, 15-minute long CD. I'm really proud of it. It kind of started off as a poetry project. I got a typewriter, and it was all manual and pressing the buttons really hard. For some reason, just having that inspired me to write a lot.
Hey, yeah, the tools that we use are kind of half of it, right?
Yeah, so once I started, I was writing these poetry, and I was this is awful poetry. This is punk lyrics or something. So, and then Carl was my roommate at the time, and he is musician 101, 100%. So he was a large inspiration of that project. I would say it's more his brain than mine, except for the lyrics.
Sure. But, hey, without that.
Yeah, we made a good team in some aspects back when we were doing Garrett and Carl 2000 on CFUR, and we kept busy.
Cool, man. Yeah, I found that as I've moved over from having a real job to pop media, I haven't been making as much music.
Is it because you don't have the time to?
Yeah, it's hard to be very creative and computer focused all day, and then also because I've been using Ableton to make music, which is another computer based program. So it's just I end up just being on the computer for 10 hours a day, man. It's crazy.
It's too much. Yeah,
it's too much. So
well, what about playing live music or playing with Flying Machine?
Yeah, and we still jam and stuff a week, but the writing thing is definitely slowed down a little bit, which I would like to get back into. We did a cool project in March, myself and then the band that I played with when we were in radio school in Vancouver. We met halfway in Spence's Bridge, and we got this Airbnb, and we brought all our equipment. And the Airbnb was called the Eagle's Nest, and we had no idea what we were going to make. We just knew we wanted to make some music, and then ended up pulling out and writing 15-minute rock opera thing, and all the songs flow together and tell this crazy epic story, and we were able to kind of do all this in 2 or 3 days, and we're just waiting for it to get mixed, and we're gonna release little cool cassettes, the Groovy Ghost of the Eagle's Nest, and it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be
This is
pretty
your
cool.
second cassette you're releasing then.
Yes, yeah. There's something about the cassette format. I like the cassette and digital download inside. You get a little bit of both. Because that's what I've like, for the listeners, in C4 Studios, we have this beautiful wall of CDs here. Like, it's a beautiful collection of music. And I find, like, over the last 10 years, like, since I lost my iPod, like, classic iPod, like, I feel like I don't have, like, a music collection. And so, like, it's this weird thing of I can listen to any music that I want, but I don't. And I don't feel like I have that, shelf of LPs or it all in one place. It's so fractured, and I would like that feeling of, here's my cassette collection, here's this collection.
So now you're going to have 2 cassettes to show off?
I'm going to have 2 cassettes. Probably going to release the new Flying Machine album on cassette. It'd be cool to do a 7-inch. It's hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be hard to do it because, like, we have 5 songs that we're going to do again.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that'd be awesome for a Pink Riot thing to do, because our album is it's only 15 minutes long. It'd be the perfect side for a A or a B side to a cassette, or alternatively having its own 7-inch. I'm thinking like you could probably fit 7 minutes on each side of a 45. Mm-hmm. That's like really pushing it though.
Yeah. Well, that was something that I thought would be an interesting project for town, is to do a sort of cassette trading program with the bands, like do split releases, and because cassettes, they're so cool looking, it's like almost like thick baseball cards, and so like
yeah.
Get these small releases and everybody's kind of trading their tapes around. I thought that'd be cool. I think that another thing that would be cool, there's a production crew in LA called like Team Supreme or something like that, and it's a bunch of different electronic music producers that they'll get they'll do compilation albums, kind of like once a month, and get to see what everybody else is doing, and people can kind of like follow along, and people like vote for their favorite one. What I thought would be interesting for the musicians in town would be to you have one person who organizes it, like picks a theme, and then everybody that's involved like writes a song about that theme, and then release like a monthly thing every month about like that theme. So then people can follow along, people can see like, oh, who killed it this month, and then everybody's kind of like, trying to compete, and it gives a focus to like some creativity, because that's what I find. It's hard to sit down and just like, I'm going to write a song, and
having that motivation helps a lot.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about releasing albums under the Pop Media logo?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, we could definitely, go into being a record label. No,
there is a record label in town, Good Egg Records. They released a compilation album with all of their.
Yeah, we're on that, and that's what I was going to say. Is like Pop Media probably won't be dipping toes into that, but we signed on with Good Egg Records, and a couple other bands in town are doing that, and that would be something cool to pitch to do for them, them.
Yeah,
and
they seem motivated to get people getting Prince George out there. Maybe that should be the feature for our next podcast.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah, definitely getting more Good Egg people on here would be cool.
Yeah. I love focusing on the music side of things a lot. I love music. I don't know. There's something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like music as well.
Yeah, there's a couple bands that released LPs. It was Black Spruce Bog did it the biggest, and then Scott Dunbar has an LP, and it's fantastic. I love it. Yeah. But I don't know how you could get your hands a hold of that. Might have to wait till he's back from Europe.
Yeah.
Buy it off of him, unless he's sold out.
I don't know. So doing something on a vinyl would be super cool. I always thought like a series of 7 inches that have like one side is a continuing story and the other side is like some music. That'd be cool. I like these sorts of different ways to tell stories. collaborative storytelling through an album, that sort of thing.
Right on. What was the story of Great Garbage?
Well, Great Garbage was, me learning how to use Ableton to produce electronic music, and I had learned that to like write demos for Flying Machine, so that I could give everybody, here's what I'm thinking. Obviously you can write your own part, but like this was just what I thought, and eventually that evolved into me creating music that like Flying Machine can't reproduce with like just rock and roll instruments. And there was kind of so much of it that I just wanted to kind of make a release of that stuff, because as you grow and your music starts to be more experimental and stuff, and maybe harder to reproduce live, I still want people to hear it, and that seemed like a good way to do it.
How many cassettes did you get made up?
So we did a split cassette. It was myself and Steve, who used to play keyboard in Flying Machine.
Right, and this was post him leaving Flying Machine too.
Exactly.
Right? Going solo.
So we did a split. Mine was Great Garbage, and his was Junk Food Sandwich. And together, I think we got 100 cassettes printed, and all sweet custom labels. We designed them, put them together, and the place we got them done looks so professional. It's so fun to have something that is that professional looking, and you just kind of made. You pulled it out of the ether, and it's there sitting in front of you.
It didn't exist before me.
Yeah,
I created. It's like a child.
Well,
you gave birth to this album.
Even your GP Does PG stuff, before you go out, even to Foodie Friday, this thing doesn't exist, and you kind of pull it and meld it, and after you're done with it, that is some chaos magic stuff. You know what I mean? Making something out of nothing. I did one on Ashcroft for Pop Media the last couple of weeks, and if Camille hadn't have taught her course, and I hadn't have walked around and did it, that story told in that way would just never have evolved. And there's something so cool about that, I think.
Yeah, I like having these little moments where it's just a mind-blowing moment. When I just came up with the GP Does PG, just putting that together, whoa, that sounds so cool. And GP is just the opposite of PG. And then I went and I painted the picture, the GP Does PG. That was it. And then I knew I wanted to make some videos on top of that, and it was just it's perfect, so self-explanatory, and just the title is
it's fate, man.
It was meant to happen.
Yeah. Because you're not originally from PG, right?
No, I'm from a small town, Kitwanga, out west from here. Yeah. Close to Terrace and Hazleton.
When did you move out here?
I moved out here in 2000. No, wait. Let me think.
1980.
1980. No, it was a couple years after I graduated high school. I wanted to say 2009 just then, but that didn't sound right. I think that was the year I graduated, and then it was a couple years after that. It's been 6 years of being in Prince George.
What's been the best thing, and what's been the worst thing?
The best thing, I don't know.
You really talk with passion.
I talk with passion. Yeah. The best thing has been finding opportunities like CFUR and CFIS and the CKPG down the line, and Shaw Cable 10, and being able to express myself creatively and having a reason to do it. Before, it was just kind of having fun with friends in high school, and then there was a long period of time where I didn't really create. There was little instances where I made videos, but nothing as solid as right now with GP Does PG. We have a weekly schedule at this point.
Yep.
And even just this podcast, having this and putting this out there has been a highlight for me as well. Now the worst, I don't know. I guess the worst would just be all in my head, right? I went through these mental issues where I had officially described as a general anxiety and depressive disorder. And that would probably be the worst of it, but that has nothing to do with Prince George. Yeah. That's just happened during my time in Prince George.
Yeah. Do you think that it was moving to a new community and like not knowing as many people that like brought it on? Or?
No, I don't think so. I went through depressions before when I was in high school. Was in the very first one, I think, in grade 12. And then it just like it seemed like it was seasonal at one point. Like, oh, it was like every year it seems to come through. But then
you're like, no, it's all
not,
of the seasons.
It's constant. Like, no, it's not just winter. It's spring and summer. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's such a problem. And then it became like a block in my life that I wouldn't do anything. I was like barely even. I was going to work every day that I was scheduled to, but that was about it.
Yeah, I feel for you, man. Like it's hard to do it when you feel good, and if you don't feel good, then it's almost impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Have you found that, like, it's if you like you have a hard time creating because you feel bad, but if you just start creating, like, do you find that and getting into like a weekly schedule of making GP Does PG, or is it still...
that helps for sure, having something to do and something. But it's just like once you're doing it, you're happier too. It's just like the act of actually, I guess they say it with physical exercise too. Like that's one thing that they always suggest. Like, why don't you just get out and walk? But it's so hard to, like, when your legs aren't working, you're just like, I want to get up and do something, and then you just don't.
Yeah.
But being passionate about this, where am I going with this?
I don't know. Just talking about maybe how creativity and how making a piece of content every week and like having
it's just like practicing smiling, just smiling for no reason impacts you in a way that like subconsciously too. You're just generally happier for some reason. It doesn't make any sense. And once you get started making these videos, it's like a source of happiness for me, especially because I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
good. Well, keep it up, man. Like and I watched the GP Does PG where you're talking about your 100 cats and that you have 2 more to do.
5 more.
You have 5 more?
Yeah.
And like any progress on those, or that's just...
It's kind of like I've been thinking about why I haven't done it, and I think it's a part of it. I like doing it so much. I don't want to finish.
Right. Well,
like I could easily be done within one day. I could paint all those cats. It'd be like a 10-hour day, but I could do it. There's no there's no obstacle besides a mental obstacle when it comes to those cat paintings.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not painting other things. It's hard to be passionate about painting at all. When you're at my skill level, it looks like a kid painted all these things, but it ended up becoming my style.
Sure. Well, I mean, without doing it, like, you'll never, like, even if you think it looks like a kid painted it, like, without doing that 100 paintings, you would never progress at all.
Right.
So, but it's good.
It's been quite a unique project. I want to get like an art show going and put up all these cat paintings on one wall, and just, it's a spectacle.
I mean, it is. And I think that like Ominika, they're always looking for stuff. Like during rock shows, I'm sure that you could definitely talk somebody into putting those cats up around the place. I think people dig it, man.
I don't think it's going to be hard. I have to finish first is a big thing too,
Yeah.
and then I have to be willing to sell them after that too. I'm a hoarder at heart, so like I'm painting all these paintings and then I keep them. They're my art.
I mean, that's good. Are you a hoarder in all of the other horrible hoarder ways as well?
I'm getting better. I'm like, at least I've admitted that I'm a hoarder now, and I've been thinning down my hoard. But geez, it's so hard. You get so personally attached to some of these objects.
Oh, I love this garbage.
Yeah, exactly. It's great garbage.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How do people find your music, man?
People find my music on Bandcamp, Dan from Flying Machine. That's where you can find Great Garbage, or just Flying Machine, and that's where you find Flying Machine. And yeah, definitely take a listen.
There's, like you said, there's physical copies. There's tapes that exist of Great Garbage, and then you have a CD too. The Flying Machine might be hard for people to track down, right?
Well, and I also always forget that, like, yes, we are also on iTunes and Spotify and all the other ones.
But Bandcamp is your main
Bandcamp, yeah, is where you can purchase the album.
Oh, do you get many digital purchases?
No, and that's why I wasn't very worried to sign. Like when I signed to Good Egg Records, my dad was like, "How could you sign something without me looking at it? Like you're gonna write this song and they're gonna steal all your money." And I was like, they wanted, like, I don't know if I can air these details, like 15% of digital sales, and I was like, well, 0. 15% of 0 is still 0.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's going to be okay.
Has Good Egg Records been a help to Flying Machine so far?
Yes, yeah, they have, and they've been great. And I hope that this next album like does super well, and that everybody like makes $1 billion each. Whether that's realistic, probably.
No.
Yeah, like, and I was listening to this this thing that was so interesting. This guy was talking about how everybody is going to be making their own music, and technology will help you do that to such a high level that there's going to be no exchange value for music. And I mean, there basically like already isn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
once the digital world came around of digital file sharing and stuff, we lost a lot of that.
Yeah, and which is a bummer, but and I think video is going to go that same way, where it's just like everybody's making their own sick videos, and there's not a lot of exchange value in making videos for people. So pop media will have to grow and expand and change, and just like you should, right? Like that's growing.
Release
right?
albums.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
compete with your own.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Britt and the team, they've been great, and I think have some cool stuff cooking for the fall. I think the summer's hard to get people doing it.
Yeah, they put on a few shows that I'm aware of that I wanted to go see. I think they just did the opening of Good Egg Records, or maybe it was the album release.
Yeah, that was in April. We played that in April, and that was super fun. And I think that there might be a back to school show in September, and I think that there might be a Northern Initiative thing in November. So
nice. You're listening to GP Does PG on 88.7 CFUR, The Fur. Do you have any shows coming up?
Yeah, we're playing at Music on the Mountain, which was super cool because we hadn't applied or anything, but they asked us to play the fundraiser show, and we were like, well, we'll play the fundraiser show like if we can play at the festival. And he agreed, and he's like, oh, I'll get you guys a spot. It might not be a great spot, but it'll be a spot. And we're like, we're in, man. And then we ended up getting like Saturday night at 7:00.
Oh, man, that's pretty
That's
tight.
like, yeah, I think that's a great spot. So we're excited to do that. And we recorded the 5 new songs about a month ago, and we're just getting them mixed and mastered by our main man, Connor.
Connor, shout out.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounded dope. The recordings were, we kind of rushed it. We did too much in a day. We recorded like 8 songs in a day. We just didn't need to do that. We should have done 4 and then done another day and done another 4. Then we would have gotten all 8 perfect. But instead we've got 5 killer ones, and Connor's just making his way through that and trying to find an artist to do some album art.
Oh, nice. Are you putting that out there?
I'm putting that out there. If you think you can draw some great cartoony faces, I'm looking to get like a really complicated looking flying machine, like crashing type thing, and then the 4 of us like holding on for dear life sort of thing.
Right on.
So yeah, something like that.
I'm sure you'll find an artist. Someone will want to do that for sure. Probably do it on the cheap.
On the cheap. Artists love doing...
For the exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
Favorite word, artists, musicians. Well, you get paid in exposure.
Oh.
Like, how about paying me in cash yet?
Oh, yeah. And like ever since starting our own business, yeah, like we don't do that to other artists anymore. Like you're getting paid because we know, and also like revisions. I know how much of a pain like revisions are. So like... And I know that an artist doesn't write on the first time.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is it's real easy to work with Danny J because I know that it sucks to be like, can you just move this over a little bit? It's like, yeah.
No, it's impossible.
Yeah, well, lots of times it is. Yeah.
That's exciting. What about Pop Media? What are you working on for Pop Media?
So for Pop Media, we have got a couple cool projects. We are working with Big Brothers Big Sisters to do a series on their in-school mentoring programs, which are really cool programs. They get people to come into the school every week and kind of just spend an hour or two with the little sisters, little brothers. And man, these kids on camera, they're hams, man. They're putting googly eyes in their eyes. They're doing all sorts of stuff.
So it's just a lot of fun going around all around.
Lots of fun. And, like really positive, uplifting stories to do. We have been shooting a couple weddings that have been pretty epic. I got to go on a helicopter to fly on top of this mountain in like the Bowen Lakes.
How did you pull that off?
They just saw our other kind of wedding stuff, and a photographer recommended us, and
they had a helicopter?
They rented, it was a very small wedding party. It was just like 6 people and myself, and we just went up top, and I was able to just kind of capture this really special, awesome moment of this family coming together.
That's awesome.
On top of a mountain. And I mean, the footage looks crazy, and mix that with, we were just down in Mexico. My cousin decided to have a destination wedding in Mexico in July. It was way too hot.
Yeah.
But the night of the wedding, it ended up being like a monsoon. And we were kind of like inland in the forest. And the way that the lightning was just hitting like every 2 seconds, it was like a strobe light, and the power would go out, but the strobe would continue, and the band would continue to play, and everybody was just having like a great time. People were in the pool.
A lot cooler in the monsoon than it is in the sun.
Yeah, it was.
Mexico.
It was very nice. So got some epic footage there that I'm slicing together, and we're gonna have a pretty killer wedding demo by the end of this.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Which I don't know if I want, because weddings, I don't know if you've ever had.
They're boring. I don't even like attending them as a guest.
Hey, well,
why would I want to videotape it?
It's not that that's not the problem that I have, which I do agree with you lots of times. But it's the pressure of like it's happening once, and you've got to capture that moment, and it's got to be in focus, and they're not doing it again for you.
Yeah.
So
could you say "I do" again, please, and then kiss?
Yeah, exactly.
Very special moment again.
Exactly. And that's sometimes too hard, too stressful. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. I like to do one takes during my GP Does PG show. We only did one take of Julian for a song Seasick, and apparently we should have taken another take according to my sound guy, apparently. Right. But he didn't say anything at the time, but I guess maybe it was more in retrospect. But I'm really happy with how that footage turned out.
Yeah, that was super dope. Super cool.
Do you have any favorite shoots in the past?
Yes. I really liked I got to spend a weekend at the roller derby that was in town, and it was something that I hadn't really had any experience with, kind of just knew that it was kind of a fringe sport, but I had a friend from Vancouver kind of come up and spend the weekend with us and got invited. I was like, hey, I'll make a movie. And I was able to just like kind of really get under the sport thing to get to the juicy center that is the community of that sport, and ended up making a very, in my opinion, like it was a big step for my own filmmaking, that sort of thing. So yeah, it was like the end when they go around and they all high five. They do this very like beautiful concentric circle high five thing all around the rink, and I was able to just capture it in kind of like this one Stanley Kubrick-esque shot, and it was just a culmination of like many years of hard work that I was able to do that. So that was, yeah.
That's fantastic. I love roller derby. I've only been to one once, but it was so much fun.
It's cool, right?
It's like it was such a high energy. You could feel the energy of the sport just being a spectator. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, one of the things that one of the girls said in the thing is that what she likes about roller derby is that it's not like women's roller derby or, just how every other sport is like there's soccer and women's soccer.
WNBA,
but
everything.
For derby, it's just like it's derby and it's a female powered sport and like that's cool.
Yeah, I've heard of occasions of males doing it, but then it's just like it's a male roller derby and no one goes, no one cares.
Which yes, and that's cool. That's cool. So that was a fun thing to make a movie on. And some more Big Brothers, Big Sister stuff, like down Cottonwood Island, getting people like birds landing on hands and stuff like that. There have been some, like, since leaving the job, and I was so nervous about taking that step and wondering, is this going to like
it's a huge step. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Papa Perry. And just that it's been so good and we've had so many wins, and Camille and I will go out and take footage and go home and be kind of in tears about what we were able to capture, and like the faces and the way that it's the faces. You get people's faces in slow motion, like having a good time, and you put it under the right music, and there's just something that, like, after I've had half a beer is just like so poignant, and it's been very, very meaningful for the two of us over the last couple months.
So how long have you been a part of Pop Media now?
Probably 5 months, 6 months now.
And then how long has Pop Media been around from the beginning?
Probably it is 2 years in July. So Camille kind of built it for about a year and a half, up to the point where I was able to move over. And, that is, like, I can't believe, growing a business to that size is impressive for anybody to do. So I am always impressed by my partner Camille, and forever grateful that, like, I had always wanted to be like an independent filmmaker or whatever, but was unclear of how that was going to happen. And it's funny that it wasn't until I met Camille that things kind of landed into place. So that is very that's great, and I love her dearly for that.
Right on. Jesus, still got some time left. Do you want to sign my my Justin Bieber autograph book?
Sure.
Right on. Let's see.
What are some other Get autographs that you've gotten there?
Let's see. Greg the Egg signed it, but then somebody said he smells. I think that's a Spencer autograph.
Oof.
I don't even know who all
Shots
these people.
fired against Greg the Egg.
Somebody says, "Love you, Garrett. Your mom." I guess somebody signed it as my mom.
Nice. Perfect.
Oh, there's a lot in here. Have a sports show. Dave. Sports with Smokin' Dave signed it. Ryan
Dave.
White from Whiskey Fingers. Jordan Electric Sex Tucker. Love Garrett's with a whole... Oh, man, this is awesome. Holy shit. Fraser Hayes signed it. He said, "I rule."
Jeez.
I've left this up here for years. Grinch, the airbrush artist, signed it.
Man, everybody.
Yeah, dude, this is like a who's who of autograph books. All right, let's just go to... Holy shit, my sis... Oop, I just said the bad word.
All right, I'm going to sign it here. I'm going to bring the audience with me on the signing. I'm going to say, "Dear GP, keep killing it in PG. It in PG and never stop. GP does PG." Signed, Danny J.
Danny J from Flying Machine.
Cool, guys.
I also had this funny idea for a spot where I read my fan mail at it's gpdoespg@gmail.com.
All right, let's dig in.
All right. This one's all messed up. I am Barrister Ploy, CEO to the personal advisor of late a nationality of your country and a deceased client of mine. I am contacting you to assist retrieve this huge deposit of $7.5 million left in the bank before it gets confiscated by the bank.
Holy smokes!
I wait
Garrett.
to hear, and I will give you thanks, Barrister Ploy, CO.
Damn, you like
I just hit the jackpot.
you hit the jackpot,
Thanks-
dude.
thanks-
Reply quick.
Quick, we got to get this over and done with. Garrett Perry, you don't know me and you're thinking why you received this email, right? Well, I actually placed a malware on the porn website, and guess what? You visited this website to have fun, in brackets. You know what I mean.
Oh no!
While you were watching this video, your web browser acted as an RDP, a remote desktop, and a keylogger, which provided me access to your display screen and webcam. Right after that, my software gathered all your contacts from your Messenger Facebook account and email account.
Oh my god!
What exactly did I do? I made a split screen video. First part recording the video you were viewing. You got fine taste. And next part recorded your webcam. Yep, it's you doing nasty things. What should I do? Well, I believe $1,900 is a fair price for our little secret. You'll make the payment via Bitcoin to the address below. And then they tell me how to buy Bitcoin. No, they tell me how to use Google to buy Bitcoin.
Okay, so
Fan emails off the hook.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I got that 7.5 million
they love you so much that they wanted to hack into your webcam.
and get my porn site.
Okay, so obviously, I don't know the legitimacy of truth, but like, if this was real and this guy truly did have a picture of you looking at this and doing that,
It would be like a close-up of my face, is what it would be.
I mean, sure, but like, let's say that it got the whole thing in and they were doing this and what did it say, $1,900? Would you actually pay the $1,900 or would you let it be released?
It might be my porn debut. Like, I'll start making my
Right.
own porn videos, just jerking off, whatever I could do.
Like-
Maybe get a girl involved at some point down the road.
we can only
I
hope.
just go
we
solo.
can only dream. Yeah. Hey, webcamming, it's very popular these days, Garrett.
Yeah, maybe have private shows and people could like give me money so I could like take off my bra and stuff.
I mean, like, you do have a very specific look to you, Garrett, that like, I think that like, there is probably a huge demographic online.
I've been
that's,
told
like,
in the gay demographic I would be a bear.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. What a comment. Somebody's shutting the door on us. We're almost out of time here. Jeez, we got to wrap this up. The Garrett Perry Podcast, 88.7 CFUR. Dan Johnson, Flying Machine, Pop Media. He does it all. Just like me, only he gets paid for it. Let's just go to the top of the minute. So we got to fill up this time.
All right.
Oh, no, we're done.